the church implement AI? Let's start the discussion. As you know, I like to give you a scripture that describes my guest to you. Daniel chapter 12 and verse 4. But you, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book until the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. I'm excited to bring to you today Dr. Noemi Oliver. I'm excited to have you today. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
You know, we've talked just a little bit, and I've heard you talk on this subject, but AI, it is such a wow and a shrinking back all at the same time.
It is.
Why?
You know, it's something that's new. It's something that it's not common. And all of a sudden that it has really brought into light that it could be good and it could be bad. So when people hear the word, it sometimes brings up that it's taking people's jobs.
Yes.
It's replacing the way they do things. And yet when you look at the positive side of it, there's a lot of things that we can implement and really utilize it to make our jobs a little bit easier to do.
Okay. And so when we talk about AI, how do we integrate it into the church system?
Right. And then you bring the church. You know, that's even a bigger taboo.
Hello.
It really is. You know, one of the things that we discovered after COVID, that many things have changed. The way we do things. Yes.
Absolutely.
And when we look at our ministry as really expanding outside of just inside the church, we really had to adjust. We didn't have time to really embrace it. We just delve right into it.
Yeah, we had no choice.
Not at all.
And as you understand, some were forced into this and some already had the system in place. We just didn't utilize it to its fullest.
Correct. And I think that that's what, after COVID, it expanded. You know, where are we missing the mark? What do we need to do? And how do we establish our position, especially in the church, in the kingdom? You know, while the church is closed, how do we go out and take a reach into the households of so many? And so that brought in the question, are we prepared?
Absolutely.
And so those that weren't prepared, they had to raise their game. And so, you know, when we look at it, it's also a ministry.
Yes.
And so when we look at that, it's part of a ministry. We hold to the same kingdom values and core values that we established from the beginning.
Right.
So if that's the case, when we look at AI, we look at how does it help us? How can we utilize it as a tool in the kingdom to be able to spread the message even further?
So, you know, before we get into the movement of AI, one of the things that helped us implement AI was that we were using online platforms.
Right.
And a lot of churches said, oh, no, we will never be on the internet. We'll never use social media. And they had to now use social media because we found more people watched us online that actually show up in the building.
Correct.
Then we had to switch and figure out, okay, how do we get them back in the building? Now we have AI.
Yeah.
So help us.
Right. You know, people just after COVID too, not only did we get a bigger reach into people's households, we also expanded by different ages.
Yes.
We were able to talk the language based on the ages that we're also talking to.
Very good.
So AI has helped us to modify our communication based on the audience.
Thank you.
And so people that are, you know, COVID is past. Yes, there's a few things that are still happening, but some people have gotten comfortable at staying at home.
Oh, yes.
That they're not going to come back to the building. And so now we got to take a look at adapting to both worlds. How do we communicate to those that are in the stream so we can go into the households? And how do we communicate to those that are in-house? And so it's not a separation, but more of a combination. And AI does help you do that.
I know from talking with you, you've been successful in implementing that. And so I just pray we all make a demand of your gifting, right? But can we utilize AI to personalize things? Personalize our message?
You know, everything comes back to what is it that the Holy Spirit, we got to seek for understanding, and we got to ask God to give us a wisdom to be able to know how and where. That's something AI cannot replace.
Good.
What AI can do is just a tool to bring us information. You know, you want to take a look at demographics for our youth. You want to take a look at demographics for who's listening to on social media. Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram?
Yeah.
That's when you implement the AI tools to be able to carry the message forward.
Excellent.
And that's what really looks at. We look at the results on how are people following you and what age groups are following you on Facebook, which is our Instagram. So we adapt our messages based on the following,
yeah,
that who's going to get that message?
Mm-hmm.
You know, is it going to go through Instagram? Is it you look at the different ages? Are they watching Facebook, or is
Yeah.
it now TikTok?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so, as we know, as carriers of the kingdom, we know that things are different.
Mm-hmm.
We're not walking around, going house to house and delivering the message.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when even TV was taboo.
Hello, yes. Going to the movies, we work with them.
It's so taboo.
Yeah. One of the things I want to just ask you to highlight as you're speaking is that we lack the understanding, right? You and I know when we talk about analytics,
Right.
and that helps the demographics.
Yes.
But there's so many that don't understand the analytics to
Right.
know that you reach a different audience on Facebook
Right.
than you do on Instagram.
Correct.
And you made that so plain right now. So just help them understand how the analytics help them.
Right. So when you use AI, and whichever tool, there's so many out there.
Yeah.
And I do want to back up a little bit. AI is not something that's new. AI has been around for a while.
Yes.
If we can go back and think about our programming when we were in school, we learned DOS. How to program.
Yes.
Right before Microsoft Word came in and gave you the commands. And then when Microsoft comes in and now you can do all these things that are a lot easier, it didn't replace the commands. It just made it easier for us to use.
So you use DOS. In London, it was WordPerfect.
Okay, yeah.
And a lot of my friends went to school and used WordPerfect. And then a guy that we got to know started with Windows, and everybody was just like, Windows.
Right.
So I didn't have to retrain. I just went straight into learning Windows. I mean, it was crazy because there was no real handbook. It was just him that was my handbook.
Right.
But that's how technology has progressed.
Right, and it has increased as far as the capability and the availability to use it a lot friendlier.
Yeah.
And so now when you start following that, you've got DOS, you've got Windows, now you've got all these programmers that are doing commands on how to execute based on what you're asking it. So when you look at that, and then now Dolly has been out for a while, well, Dolly is the one that was a game changer and has allowed all these other programs to really expand into all these AIs.
Okay.
So now you got ChatGPT, you got Bard, you got Gemini. There's a lot of tools out there.
I'm using ChatGPT.
ChatGPT.
Yes, my friend recommended it to me, and so I'm learning that one right now.
There's just so many extensions with ChatGPT that you can utilize. But again, it's a tool. It's not a replacement. And when people ask me about, you know, aren't you scared about, you know, it's like a computer. If I give you a computer, it is the user.
Yes.
That is behind, and the user can choose to use it for the wrong thing or for the right thing.
Yeah.
And so where are we as Christians? As Christians, we're held to a higher standard.
Yes.
And so we still stick to our ethical values. We use the computer, the AI as a tool, not to replace what we're doing as pastoral care, but more to assist us on how do we reach those different genres and different ages.
You have made it so plain. It's lovely. And I hope that others will really get the full understanding. And we haven't even started. This is just the basics right now. So again, the implementation has to happen, right? So how do you challenge leaders?
Right. You know, and it's change.
Yes.
It is
You're being so polite right now. I love it.
It is change. You know, people don't like change.
No.
They like the computer they had. And I'll give you an example. I remember when I had my little Palm Pilot.
Yes. Oh,
I love my Palm Pilot.
Mine was BlackBerry.
Yeah. Well, I had a BlackBerry, a Palm Pilot. And I love because the functionality of it was much simpler.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, an iPhone. And boy, did I fight that iPhone.
I did. I was a Samsung girl. They still tease me.
Right.
I moved over to the dark side now. I'm iPhone.
iPhone now?
Yes.
And you know, and then I was like, why did I take so long in finding it when now I can simplify things and I can have it in different devices?
Oh my gosh.
But it was the change that I understood that it's not easy to go into change.
As a leader, let me just confess, so that I don't put anybody on the spot. As a leader, I love that I know something. I don't have to think how to use it.
Correct.
It's a science. It's easy. I can come in anytime I'm flustered. I know exactly what to do and how to do it. When change comes, I have now what took me 3 minutes. Now it takes me 20 minutes or more. Right? So help us. Help.
For one, psychology tells us when we don't know something, we automatically fight it. We argue, we fight, we resist. looking at it, this is going to be a tool to simplify